Hello, everyone, and welcome to Women Winning Wednesdays. I'm your host, Maryland attorney Elsa W. Smith, and I'm the owner of the Maryland estate firm, the law offices of Elsa W. Smith, where our mission is to empower women through estate planning. Y'all, before I get started, I just want to say that it's the beginning of December already, and we have been airing episodes of Women Winning Wednesdays since the end of April. So pretty much 6 months. Can you believe it? It's been incredible. I thank all of you who've been watching every week. And for those of you who are new to the Women Winning Wednesdays audience, welcome. My hope is to bring you educational content and guest interviews to really give you glimpses of what an empowered woman is and the tools that she needs to win. So today's topic, let me get right into it, is we're going to talk about fears about estate planning and how to overcome them. So fears about estate planning and how to overcome them. As a reminder, since we're streaming on StreamYard, be sure to give StreamYard permission for us to view your comments. So go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. You only need to do it once. But if you want to comment or ask questions during this episode, feel free. But that's the only way that I'll see that you're asking a question. So the way I'm going to do this episode is I'm going to break it down into two parts. The first part, I'll identify some common fears, and specifically 5 of them. And then the latter part of the episode will be talking about, of course, how to overcome those fears and my suggestions. So let's get right into it. You know, by nature, we as human beings, we are wired to avoid things that make us uncomfortable, things that we fear. So as I said, this is part 1, and we're going to talk about 5 common fears I believe that we have surrounding estate planning. So the first one is the fear of your own mortality or death, right? Now, this is a very natural fear to have. Most of us don't want to die and have a healthy fear of actions that would increase the likelihood or the risk of death. Now, estate planning does require you to think about how your assets will be distributed or disposed of after your death. So, of course, it's natural to think of estate planning and death all in the same thought. And interestingly, this fear can cause people to act differently, even irrationally, from how they typically would act under different circumstances. I want us to be mindful of the stories that we are telling ourselves when we're, dealing with this fear of death. Dr. Russell James has done extensive research on the topic of mortality salience. And all that is mortality salience, say that again, is just the awareness of individuals that their death is inevitable. Okay. Dr. James is from Texas Tech University, and he describes 5 ways that we avoid mortality salience. And they are, as he describes it, first, it's distraction. So an example is, oh, I'm too busy to worry about that now. The next one is differentiation. For example, it doesn't apply to me because I come from a family of people who live a really long time, so I don't have to deal with estate planning. The next way is termed as denial. The worries about death, you guys are overblowing it. It's not that important. The next way is delay. I plan on worrying about death or thinking about it later. Okay, so you're pushing it off. And then the last one he calls departure. That means I'm just going to stay away from anything that reminds me of death. Okay, now don't worry. I'm not going to get into the weeds and have a mortality salience discussion. That's not the point of this episode. But I bring it up, I touch on it because it's a reminder that estate planning is a very personal and human experience. You know, those of us who are estate planning attorneys like myself, you know, who strive to really provide a richer and more meaningful experience for our clients, we understand that estate planning is impacted by emotions, psychology, and even neuroscience. Now,